You think God abandoned you, but suffering was never meant to destroy you. These words echo in the silent chambers of your heart when you're hurting. In the depths of your pain, you question everything: your faith, your purpose, even your own worth. Why would a loving God allow you to endure such agony? It feels unfair, like divine neglect. But what if instead of being a punishment or an abandonment, your pain is part of a profound process? What if suffering is not meant to break you, but to remake you? Suffering often paints your world in shades of sorrow. You feel isolated, consumed by a darkness that seems endless. In these moments, it's easy to believe that God has left you. Yet even in the emptiness, there is a purpose forming. Just as a seed must crack open in the dark soil for new life to sprout, your soul often cracks open through pain to reveal something new within. The truth is, God hasn't abandoned you at all. In fact, He may be closest to you in your pain, working quietly to transform your heart. Pain as a path to spiritual growth. From ancient spiritual teachers to modern psychologists, there's a deep understanding that pain can lead to growth. When life is comfortable, you rarely stop to reflect. But suffering? It forces you to ask the big questions. Pain, in a paradoxical way, can be a gift, a severe but meaningful teacher. As C.S. Lewis famously said, God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pain. It is His megaphone to rouse a deaf world. In other words, pain grabs your attention like nothing else. It shatters the illusion that everything is fine and pushes you to seek deeper answers and a closer connection to the divine. Think about it. When you suffer, you often find yourself turning inward, praying harder, seeking comfort and answers. That struggle can lead to profound spiritual reflection and growth. You might discover empathy you never had before, strength you never knew you possessed, or a purpose you never understood. In fact, psychologists have observed that pain can have unexpected positive outcomes. Empathy. Enduring hardship often makes you more compassionate toward others suffering. One study found that people who went through intense psychological pain showed significantly greater empathy for others. Your wounds can sensitize your heart to others who hurt. Resilience. Surviving difficulty can build resilience. Much like muscles that tear and rebuild stronger after exercise, overcoming struggles proves you are capable of hard things. In truth, some form of suffering is almost a prerequisite for resilience. It prepares you for future challenges. Meaning, pain can eventually lead to purpose. We rarely see meaning in the middle of a storm, but when it passes, we often assign meaning to what we endured. Viktor Frankl, who survived the horrors of a concentration camp, wrote that the right kind of suffering is in itself a deed, the highest achievement granted to man. In surviving the unsurvivable, he found a mission to help others find meaning in suffering. Your trials can become turning points, guiding you to discover a deeper reason for your life. In spiritual terms, think of pain as a refining fire. Just as gold is refined by flame, impurities burned away to reveal purity, your character is refined by trials. It's intense and it hurts, but it transforms. The process is never easy, but it awakens something sacred in you, a stronger faith, a more compassionate soul, and a clearer sense of what truly matters. Suffering forces you to grow roots of faith deeper than fair-weather happiness ever could. The psychology of suffering, your brain on pain. Pain is not just in your head, but it does profoundly involve your head and your brain. Understanding the neuroscience behind suffering can reassure you that you're not weak or crazy for hurting so much. Your brain is literally wired to respond to pain intensely. When you feel emotional pain, heartbreak, loss, rejection, your brain responds much as it does to physical pain. Remarkable brain imaging studies show that the same neural circuits light up whether you suffer a physical injury or an emotional wound. The anterior cingulate cortex and insula, regions of your brain that register physical pain, also activate when you experience social rejection or grief. In other words, your brain can't tell much difference between a broken bone and a broken heart. That's why betrayal or loneliness truly hurts. Biologically, it triggers the pain centers in your brain, screaming that something is wrong. Beyond brain circuits, consider your body's stress response to suffering. When you're in emotional agony, your amygdala, the brain's fear alarm, is firing off alerts. Your body floods with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart races, muscles tense, breathing quickens, the classic fight-or-flight response engaging even if the enemy is invisible pain. This is your brain's way of trying to protect you from harm. It's as if your whole being is saying, "This is dangerous. We must survive." In short bursts, this response helps you cope. But when pain is chronic or trauma is deep, your system stays on high alert. Chronic stress from prolonged suffering can literally change your brain and body, contributing to anxiety, depression, and health issues. It's not all in your head, it's a full-body battle. Knowing this, be gentle with yourself. Your reactions, the numbness, the panic, the exhaustion, are normal responses to abnormal hardship. Psychology teaches us techniques to soothe this neurochemical storm. Breathing exercises to calm the amygdala, journaling or therapy to help process and reframe the hurt, prayer or meditation to engage the brain's calming pathways. Healing is not just spiritual, it's also biological. When you seek comfort in faith or loved ones, you're not only nourishing your soul, you're also helping to regulate your brain's response to pain. Over time, with support and coping strategies, your brain can adapt. It can form new pathways that associate your trials with growth, not just fear. This is the amazing concept of neuroplasticity. Even in suffering, your brain can learn to find resilience and hope. Transformation, not punishment. A divine perspective. It's a natural human question. Did I do something to deserve this? Is God punishing me? When life blows strike hard, you might scour your past for mistakes, as if pain were divine payback. This belief, that suffering equals God's punishment or abandonment, is powerful but false. Yes, actions have consequences, and sometimes we do suffer from our own choices. But not all suffering is earned. Not all hardship is a sign of God's displeasure. In fact, the opposite can be true. Suffering can be a sign that God is working to bring about a greater good in your life. Consider a few powerful examples from Scripture and history that illustrate how God uses suffering to transform, not torment. Joseph's story, Genesis 50:20. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, and sold into slavery. He endured years of unjust suffering. Yet later, he rose to prominence in Egypt and saved many lives during a famine. When he finally faced his brothers again, he told them, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." His pain was not pointless, it was the pathway to his purpose. God didn't cause his brothers' betrayal, but he wove Joseph's adversity into a plan of rescue and reconciliation. Job's test. Book of Job. Job was a righteous man who faced unimaginable losses. His children, his health, his wealth, all seemingly in one fell swoop. His friends insisted he must have angered God, but the scripture reveals Job's suffering was not punishment for wrongdoing. It was a test, a part of a larger divine story to ultimately reveal God's faithfulness and to refute the accuser. Job's story shows that suffering can happen to the best of us, and sometimes we won't know the why, but it's not because God has turned his back. Throughout Job's ordeal, God was present. And in the end, Job's understanding of God deepened profoundly. The blind man, John 9. In the New Testament, Jesus encounters a man born blind. People ask whose sin caused this tragedy, assuming suffering must be punishment. Jesus answers that no one's sin caused it. Rather, this man's disability would showcase God's healing power, and then Jesus heals him. In that moment, Jesus directly rejects the idea that all suffering is divine retribution. Instead, some hardships serve a higher purpose beyond our immediate understanding, in this case to reveal God's compassion and glory. What these stories teach is echoed in many lives today. Your pain is never wasted in God's hands. He can repurpose any sorrow for something redemptive. Far from neglecting you, God is like a master sculptor chiseling raw marble. The hammer blows are painful, but the intention is to carve a masterpiece. Or think of a gardener pruning a vine. Cutting branches seems cruel, but it allows new growth and abundant fruit later. Suffering, then, is not a sign of divine cruelty. It's a sign of divine care and vision. It's how God prepares you for greater strength, wisdom, and compassion. When you feel forsaken, remember the promise that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. You may feel abandoned, but feelings can mislead. In truth, God is right there with you in the valley of shadow, closer than your breath, catching each tear. He has not forgotten you for a moment. On the contrary, He's working through this very pain to bring you to a better place. As it says in Romans 8:28, "For those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to His purpose." All things, even this pain, even the loss, even the failure, in time and faith, it all weaves into a tapestry of good. You might not see the full picture yet, but trust that there is a design being stitched together in the heavens with every thread of your suffering. Realigning your perspective, trust the process of hardship. Pain changes you, that is a fact, but how it changes you, for better or worse, is in part up to you. This is where perspective comes in. You can view pain as a cruel curse, or you can begin to see it as sacred preparation. Realigning your perspective means shifting from, "Why is this happening to me?" to, "What is this doing for me?" This doesn't mean you wanted it or that it isn't extremely hard. It means you choose to believe there is meaning and growth to be found, even if you can't see it yet. Think of the process of refining again, or the metamorphosis of a butterfly. The caterpillar enters a dark cocoon, a kind of death to its former self. From the outside, it looks like suffering, a creature enclosed in darkness, dissolving. But inside, transformation is happening. When the time is right, it breaks free, no longer a worm inching on the ground, but a butterfly soaring to the skies. Had it skipped the cocoon, it would never develop the strength in its wings to fly. The struggle is what prepares it for freedom. In the same way, your hardship is forging new wings for your soul. Every trial, tear, and tremor of your heart is stretching your capacity to love, to persevere, to empathize, to appreciate the sunlight when it finally comes. Realigning perspective also involves trust, a deep trust in the process and in God. It's deciding to believe that maybe there is a purpose in your ordeal, even if you can't grasp it now. It's like walking through a dense fog on a mountain path. You can't see the summit, but you trust the trail is leading you there. Faith is your compass when suffering obscures the way. You remind yourself that the story isn't over yet. In fact, throughout history, the greatest stories of triumph involve a period of intense hardship, the hero's darkest hour before the dawn. Your life is no different. This pain chapter is not the end of your book. It's the tension before the turning point. Take a moment to consider, how might this pain be preparing you? Is it awakening a new passion or calling in you? Is it teaching you patience or revealing inner strength? Is it drawing you closer to those who truly love you or to God? Often we only see these answers in hindsight, but even asking the questions can shift your mindset. Instead of feeling like a victim of fate, you start to sense you are being guided through a journey. What changes is not the pain itself, but the meaning of the pain. And when you find meaning, you find the strength to endure almost anything. Finding strength in suffering, your call to transformation. Now, dear friend, this is your invitation. It's time to reclaim your suffering as more than just sorrow, to reframe it as a source of strength and sacred preparation. Life may have knocked you down, but it has not defeated you. In this very moment, through all your scars and confusion, a new you is being born, wiser, stronger, more compassionate. Take a step of faith and align your heart with hope. Embrace the idea that your pain has purpose. You don't need to enjoy suffering, no one does, but you can choose to learn from it. You can choose to believe that there is a seed of light buried in this darkness, and you will nurture that seed until it grows. Starting today, find strength in your pain by doing one brave thing: reframe it. Instead of saying, "I am broken," tell yourself, "I am being rebuilt." Instead of thinking, "God has left me," remind yourself, "God is refining me." Whenever that ache resurfaces, take it as a cue, not to despair, but to pray, to journal, to speak affirmations of growth. Say, "This hurt is hard, but I will trust that it's part of my becoming. I will trust that God is with me in this, and I am not alone." Remember, diamonds form under pressure and stars shine in the night. Your soul is both a diamond and a star in the making. You are not abandoned. You are being prepared. Every great destiny has its wilderness season, its crucible of suffering that forges character and faith. This is yours. Embrace it with courage. Lean into the support of others and the comfort of prayer. Open your heart, even if it trembles, to the possibility that this pain will one day become your power, that your story of overcoming will light the way for someone else walking a similar dark path. In the end, suffering was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to build you, to realign you with what truly matters, and with the God who loves you enough to grow you. So stand up from the ashes, wipe your tears, even if they fall again. Carry your scars as medals of rebirth. Trust the process of hardship, for on the other side lies transformation. This is your sacred journey from pain to purpose. Let it begin now, with you finding the faith to see your suffering not as a curse, but as the catalyst for your greatest awakening. Your heart, though wounded, is being remade stronger. Your faith, though tested, is coming forth as gold. And your life, though broken in places, is being reassembled into a story of resilience, meaning, and hope. Take heart, dawn is coming. Embrace the healing and growth that pain offers. Find strength in your suffering and rise. Your tomorrow is being forged in the fires of today's trials, and by God's grace you will emerge shining. Now is the time to begin reframing your suffering as sacred preparation for the remarkable chapters yet to come. Your journey through pain has purpose. Trust it, grow from it, and know that you are never, ever alone in it.